Hi friends. Today on Foam University, we're going to talk about the history of insulation. So today, we're going to go back, and I mean way back, to ancient Egypt. The Egyptians are known for their great architecture, right? We've got the pyramids of Giza, the Sphinx, all of the temples that are around Egypt. Something else that they were really good at was insulation. They created stone blocks made out of mud to build their structures. That kept the hot desert air out and the cold desert air out as well, so that they were able to stay comfortable no matter what the desert threw at them. Now we're going to fast forward a little bit. We're going to go to ancient Greece. Now today, we know asbestos is not the bestest. But in ancient Greece, they used asbestos throughout their homes because they knew that it was really good at blocking heat transfer. Fast forward just a smidge more to the Roman Empire. Now in Rome, again, great architecture. They built the first roads. They also built the aqueducts, which funneled water into Rome. Those aqueducts were insulated with cork. Cork is actually a really good insulator, and the Romans took advantage of it. Fast forward a little bit more, and here are the Vikings. Now the Vikings are known to have traveled everywhere, but when you talk about the central location of where the Vikings are from, it's cold there, friends. It's real cold. But they knew that in their homes and in their structures, they could use mud in those cracks and crevices to help keep that cold air out. Now we're going to move forward to the Middle Ages. This is my amazing drawing of a castle. Now, if you've gone to any of your local art museums, or maybe you've watched like historical films from like this time period, you're going to see that there are these huge tapestries that are hung on the walls. They're beautiful to look at. They're fantastic, but they also served another purpose. In castles, you're going to get lots of air, lots of drafts. So they hung these tapestries on the walls to prevent that air movement, kept the cold air out and the hot air out. So it was a slightly comfortable castle. Now to the Industrial Revolution. Steam power, all the things. So this is when you see factories being built, lots of manufacturing. The way that they insulated things in the factories, like the pipes and things like that, they used asbestos. They used asbestos in these factories for a little more than a century. That was before there were any kind of health risk or concerns that they knew about. It wasn't until about the 1970s that they realized asbestos was not a safe product to use. As an aside, this time period between the Industrial Revolution and the 1930s, that's when you're going to find homes that have really weird things in the walls. You'll find newspapers, horsehair, dolls, photographs, anything that they could cram into the wall cavity to prevent air movement, they just threw it in there. Now in the 1930s and 40s, cellulose was created around this time, and it's one of the oldest insulation materials, but it hadn't become a popular home insulator just yet. Around this time is when you really see people start to use fiberglass, and of course they're still using asbestos. So in the 1950s through the 1970s is when you start to see an uptick of people using cellulose insulation. And that's because in this time period, that's when they added a fire retardant to it. So people used it more because they thought that it would make their houses safer. In the 1970s is also where you see the birth of foam insulation. It wasn't as popular at the time, but as we know now, in later years, it does become a more popular option to insulate homes. In 1965, there was new wall insulation requirements. These requirements, they've changed more than a dozen times since then, but essentially in that time period was when they said all homes that were built had to have insulation in the walls. Now we move on to today. See, you are here. The top 3 options for home insulation are fiberglass, cellulose, and foam. Today, people are thinking that they want their homes to be more energy efficient. They want to save money on their energy bills. They want their homes to be more comfortable at the same time. They also want to reduce their carbon footprint. And they do that with foam insulation because they can seal the entire building envelope, which prevents air from leaking in and the air that they pay to treat from leaking out. That reduces energy usage, which reduces those bills, which also reduces the carbon footprint. And who can be mad at having a more comfortable home? I've traveled with you over thousands of years across the entire planet to talk about insulation. If you have any more questions, check out our Learning Center on our website. I'm your building science brainiac reminding you to bring science to every project.